This video is brought to you by patreon.com/worsttake. Get access to exclusive live streams and Discord servers, on-screen shoutouts, and early access to some videos when you join now. Help make sure that we can continue to make content like this by supporting the Patreon. Links are in the description down below. You know, we've talked about so much of what makes this Browns team a team that's been able to overcome so much this season. And one of the things that I feel like has really put the Browns over the top is that this is one of the best next man up teams in football. The Browns have lost a ton of starters, so many starters that when one of the backups that was replacing the starter got hurt, we felt like we just lost the starter, right? The Browns have really had to live up to the next man up moniker, right? On the offensive line, at quarterback, at running back, along the secondary, they've had to do it as well. I think the defense has been the one part of this team that has been able to stay relatively injury free, and hopefully that continues. But you look at this Browns team, you look at the injuries that they've been through, and then you look at the performances that they've gotten in those injuries, in the absence of those players, and you start to see what I'm talking about, which is this Browns team is one of the best, if not the best, next man up team in the NFL. You want some names? I'll give you some names, right? So Dawand Jones is the first guy on my next man up list. He wasn't a starter to begin this season. We thought he wasn't even going to play. We knew that Jack Conklin was going to hold it down at right tackle. But unfortunately, Jack Conklin gets hurt super early into the season. I'm talking about like 3/4 into the season. Jack Conklin gets hurt. And Dawand Jones, a rookie, has to step in. And here's the crazy thing about how good Dawand Jones has been playing. He's been so good that we forgot that this dude was a 4th-round pick. Like, it felt like inserting a guy that you took 10th overall with Dawand Jones at right tackle. And that's kind of the vibe that we've been having. Like, oh, this dude was going to be the next starter anyway. But we forget, like, 4th-round picks, man, they don't usually pan out like this. Obviously, Dawand Jones is a different 4th-round pick. Didn't fall to the 4th round because he can't play football. He fell to the 4th round because people felt like had other things against him. But Dawand comes in, plays so well, you can even make the argument that he might be better at this point than what Jack Conklin was at the point that he went out. And that's an injury, one of the first season-ending injuries this offense sustained. And they've been able to get by irregardless because of the strength of the play at that position. And that is a credit to Dawand Jones. It's a credit to Bill Callahan. One of the things I mentioned before the Browns game this week was I wasn't too concerned, or as concerned as everybody else was, of the fact that Jed Wills was going to be out, and so was Dawand Jones, because I saw a lot of people panicking. I saw a lot of people worried. But I think that this staff, this organization, has earned the benefit of the doubt in those situations, because we have seen it time and time again. 2020, they lost both their starting tackles multiple times throughout the year. They were able to get by without them and figure something out. Bill Callahan, Kevin Stefanski, Alex Van Pelt, and Andrew Berry have proven their worth when it comes to that they can figure out something. Now, this week's going to be a little bit of a different beast, right? Can't really duct tape your way out of that tackle spot, but Dawand Jones stepping up, being that next man up, I mean, that's been a right along the lines of what you would expect if Nick Chubb were playing. Hey, we can even divide that number. They have 1,331 rushing yards. We divide that by the 9 games that they've played so far. This is about 147 per game. We multiply that by 17, and then it's about 2,514, which puts them right along the lines of where they were last year with Nick Chubb. The fact that the production has not dropped, the fact that we're starting to see the ability to run at will come back with this team, and the fact that Jerome Ford at times versus the Baltimore Ravens, one of the best, if not the best run defense in the NFL, at times he was able to control the game from the running back position, shows you that you're still in good hands and that Jerome Ford has really been doing a good job of stepping up. I know Kareem Hunt is a more popular player than Jerome Ford, but I think Kareem Hunt's perfect in a role, right? Short yardage, end zone guy, let him gobble up all the touchdowns and the first downs. I think that's the perfect way to use Kareem Hunt. But Jerome Ford is the best home run hitter you have, the best all-around back you have. He's the best receiver out the backfield. I think he used to play receiver and wide receiver in high school, so that goes for a little bit of something. He's a good pass protector, and when he's confident and when he's going downhill, he's pretty hard to tackle for a guy who's not the biggest in the world. So Jerome Ford, I feel like he's done a tremendous job this year, stepping up in the shadow of Nick Chubb. Let's see how many yards Jerome Ford is on pace for so far. He has 532 rushing yards this year. So 532, divide that by 9, times that by 17. He's on track for about 1,000 yards this year. And in the way that he's improving, I really wouldn't be surprised if he surpasses that by 100 yards and gets 1,100 yards behind this Browns offensive line. And then we're back to Chubb and Hunt world, right? But instead of Chubb and Hunt, it's going to be Chubb and Ford, because now you have an 1,000-yard back with Jerome Ford. You pair that with a returning Nick Chubb. You feel really good about your run game next year because you were able to give Jerome Ford all of this experience and the carries that he desperately needed to develop this year. Players need to play. I know there's this idea that you could just hold players forever and then expect them to develop because they got older, but players need to play. Players need plays to get those to develop. And I think Jerome Ford is a great example of somebody who needed to play, develop, and everything else. Can we add D-Hop to this list? Because to me, D-Hop is a next man up because he was not supposed to be the starter coming into this season. It was supposed to be Cade York, but Cade York pooped the bed. We traded for somebody who lost their kicker competition for the Chargers and came in here and has been one of the best kickers in football. So let's give Dustin Hopkins some love on that next man up grind. Nick Harris is also somebody who I think was a next man up at fullback, right? I think the original plan was they wanted to use Harrison Bryant at fullback. That didn't work out. They were using Nick Harris in some specialty sets as a fullback, but now it seems like he's the full-time fullback, and I think that Nick Harris has done a great job stepping up in those moments and being kind of the full-time fullback for this team, and I think that that's a good role for him. PJ Walker is another guy that I feel like has stepped up. Look, I know people were ready to poo-poo him, haul on him all the whole time while he was out there. But the fact of the matter is that he made plays to help you win the game. He also made plays that could have cost you the game, but that's the life of a backup quarterback. He came back, made some plays in some big moments, helped this team get 2 victories. PJ Walker doesn't get enough love for what he was able to do for this team and what he was able to maintain with this team, because if PJ doesn't come in there and make that throw against Indy to win that game, if he doesn't come in there to what else did he do? Well, he didn't really do much against San Francisco, but I thought he did, enough to keep you in the game versus the Seattle Seahawks. But point being, I think that PJ really played his part, did what you want a backup quarterback to do, right? The barometer for a backup quarterback is always, hey, if you need somebody to step in for 1 or 2 games and win you a game, can your backup do it? PJ Walker does it and has done it consistently throughout his career. I think he is truly an upper echelon backup, to be, in my opinion. He will be that for somebody next year. Greg Newsome is somebody who stepped up. Now, Greg Newsome is weird because he's not next man up, like he came fresh off the bench, but he did come from the slot to play outside corner against the Ravens and really did lock it down on that outside side. Really did a great job. In that same respect, Mike Ford is somebody who had to step up, come up off the bench to play nickel for Cam Mitchell. And Cam Mitchell was another guy who's on that next man up list who stepped up, played nickel, did a really good job of it. But unfortunately, Cam got hurt, got put on IR, so he's going to be gone for a couple more weeks. And then Mike Ford had to step in. And I thought Mike Ford did a decent enough job. Like, you don't want him one-on-one in man coverage. We all know what that is. But if you could keep him inside, I think you could live with that. But those are my next man up guys. That's why I think this Browns team is one of the best next man up teams in the NFL. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Y'all have a great day. Have an even better night.